You ever have one of those days where you swear you're living in a sitcom except there's no laugh track, just sweat running down your back, and a neighbor hell-bent on making you the villain of the neighborhood? That's how this mess started for me, standing in my front yard lawnmower humming the sun, basically melting my skin off when Barbara Hutchinson, self-appointed guardian of Pine Valley Estates, came storming across the street like the HOA's answer to Judge Judy. Now, I'm not talking about the usual neighborly chat, borrowing sugar, complaining about the heat. No, Barbara's got her finger pointed before she even crosses the curb, face set in that weird cocktail of righteous anger and artificial sweetener from her iced coffee. She stops so close I can count the flecks of foundation caked under her eyes and launches right into one of her greatest hits about community standards, property values, the fabric of society, unraveling apparently because I chose to mow the lawn in a navy Sando with a hole near the hem. I'm bracing myself for another round of whatever new HOA commandment she's come up with when bam, she pivots, stomps into my yard, and straight up yanks the tiny American flag from my garden bed. I hear the metal scrape on the stones. She's mid-power move, and that's when we both hear it, the low rumble of a patrol car pulling up. And I swear, for one golden second, Barbara looks like she's about to bolt. That's the thing about Pine Valley Estates. It's supposed to be this little slice of suburban heaven, but for the last month, it's been Barbara's personal fiefdom. She's not technically the HOA president, but she's got the blonde bob, the athleisure that costs more than my entire wardrobe, and this unshakable belief that the world will end if someone wears shorts to water their begonias. You know, the typewrite mailbox mafia holiday light police and the self-styled defender of neighborhood decorum. If you so much as plant a flamingo, she'll leave a note. If you wear a tank top to edge the lawn, she'll call the cavalry. It started small, her snapping pictures from her driveway phone, held high like she was documenting a crime scene. Then came the loud phone calls, complaints about moral decay, and property values dropped just loud enough for me to hear, like, I'm not supposed to notice. Before long, she's filing formal grievances with the HOA every other day, each one more dramatic than the last. Apparently, I was running some kind of Sando-based attack on neighborhood decency, traumatizing children with my upper arms. The board, to their credit, got tired of it pretty quick. Tom Garrison from the board even stopped by apologizing for the barrage of emails. He told me off the record there's no dress code for mowing your own lawn, and Barbara's complaints were being expedited to the circular file, which is HOA speak for straight in the trash. But you could see it in Barbara's eyes every time her latest crusade failed. She just doubled down. Started coming out every time I mowed, watering her fake plants, inspecting the mailbox, fake sweeping her driveway. If looks could kill, I'd be 6 feet under in cargo shorts. It all came to a head on one of those killer Saturdays, 90-something degrees, air so thick you could drink at me just trying to keep the grass alive. I'm taking a break in the shade with old Mr. Peterson from next door chatting about his tomatoes. I peel off my Sando for half a second, literally just to wring it out, and I guess Barbara thought this was her moment because she comes charging across the street, eyes wild, mouth already moving. Mr. Peterson mumbles something about needing to check his sprinkler system and disappears, leaving me alone with the storm. Barbara's yelling about public decency, community standards, demanding I put on real clothes or she'll call the authorities. She starts in on this wild speech about how children might see me and be scarred for life. Never mind, there's not a single kid outside because it's 100 degrees in the shade. I try to stay calm, pull my Sando back on, ask her politely, mind you, to leave my property. She doesn't. She stomps further onto my grass, white sneakers mashing my hard-won green grabs, that American flag again, and starts waving it like she's captured enemy territory, yelling about how I'm disrespecting the flag by displaying it in improper attire. The metal stake is this close to my chest. Honestly, I almost laugh. So I tell her again, calm as I can, that she's trespassing and point out the security camera I installed after her first few rounds of evidence collecting. The little red lights blinking away, catching all this in glorious HD. Barbara glances up at it, but instead of backing off, she just goes full throttle, claiming she's got the authority as part of the HOA Enforcement Committee, a thing I'm 99% sure only exists in her head. I pull out my phone and call the non-emergency police line, which is when she laughs and says, No cop's gonna take the side of a guy who can't even put on a shirt. I dial anyway. The dispatcher's asking if I feel threatened. I explain she hasn't touched me, but she's trashed my landscaping and refuses to leave. Barbara must hear me mention the camera because she suddenly kicks my garden gnome, my niece's birthday present, straight into the roses. The poor thing's hat cracks clean off. Now I've got trespassing and vandalism. The patrol car pulls up, 8 minutes that feel like forever. 2 officers step out, faces reading, "Not this again." Barbara's still ranting, flag in hand, me on the porch with my phone. Officer Chen does the talking. I walk him through the afternoon, show him the footage. Barbara immediately launches into her own speech, claiming she's doing her civic duty under HOA rules, flag waving dangerously close to Officer Williams' face. They ask to see the video. I pull it up clear as day, her stomping in, yanking the flag, punting my poor gnome. The officers exchange this look like Tuesday again already. Officer Chen asks Barbara to return my flag and leave. She insists she's confiscating evidence, says she's got community enforcement privileges. I almost ask if that's in the HOA handbook right next to the unicorn stables. Tempers are climbing with the heat. She won't quit, starts ranting about my new solar lights, pointing at them like they're weapons of mass destruction. When she tries to move past Officer Williams to take more evidence, he steps in. And that's it. They've had enough. Officer Chen calmly tells her she's under arrest for trespassing, and vandalism starts reading her rights while Barbara's jaw unhinges in disbelief. She sputters about lawsuits, city council connections, but the handcuffs are already on. The whole cul-de-sac's watching by now. Mrs. Nakamura's out with popcorn. Jeremy from the corner house is filming Mr. Peterson's peeking through his garage door. They load Barbara into the cruiser, still shouting about the downfall of civilization, her face red as a beet. Officer Chen hands me back my flag, a little bent but still waving, takes my statement, photographs my poor decapitated gnome. He says they'll need the footage for the report, which, yeah, that's going viral, you know it. 3 days later, I get a letter from the HOA. They're apologizing big time, clarifying that you can wear whatever you want to mow your lawn. And Barbara's committee was about as official as Monopoly money. Turns out she'd been inventing rules, sending fake letters, acting like the Grand Inquisitor for months. The kicker, Barbara's arrest, made the local news headline, "Overzealous HOA enforcer arrested for trespassing." No names, but everyone knew. At the emergency HOA meeting, they ban her from ever serving on any committee, erase her made-up citations, and send a neighborhood-wide apology. At her hearing, Barbara gets fined $500 for vandalism. Turns out my gnome was limited edition, and another $300 for trespassing. Judge orders her to do 40 hours of community service with a group that promotes diversity and tolerance. The look on her face as the sentence drops, pure comedy and tragedy all at once. And now the neighborhood feels lighter, a little less like a war zone, though folks still peek at me when I'm mowing like they're expecting the next episode. Some say Barbara's plotting her comeback. Others think she's finally learned her lesson, but who knows? Maybe next time she'll just let a guy mow his lawn in peace. Or maybe she's sitting somewhere right now plotting a new set of rules, waiting for another chance to bring order to the wild tank top wearing West. So, what do you think? Did the system finally work? Or was Barbara just the scapegoat for a community too polite to say enough is enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because out here in suburbia, justice is apparently a team sport.